The movie begins in space, where we see dozens of legendary moon spirits doing their usual ritual dances. Just as all these happens, we are introduced to a baby moon spirit called Mupu, who drives a kind of truck to the place. We realize that Mupu wishes to join the dance one day, as he decided to imitate their every moves. Suddenly, things begins to take a dark turn as we are introduced to an evil wolf-like creature who uses her black magic to absorb and steal the powers of the beautiful beings. Just then, the scene then freezes to give us a better explanation of what is happening. We hear a voice in the background giving us some little introduction. The person giving us the narration is called Freddy Lupin. He is a werewolf, but actually not like the rest of the pack. He looks like a puppy and doesn't seem threatening in any manner, and due to this, he normally gets mocked by every wolf in the pack apart from his father, who still believes in him. That leads us to introduce us to his father. His father is called Flashheart, and he is the alpha of the wolf pack. He introduces us to his uncle named Hotspur, a jerk in their family who has been trying his best to eliminate his father and become the new alpha. Freddy also shows us his best friend, actually a street dog called Batty. At daytime, these wolves are just humans living their daily lives, but at night they are vigilantes. As wolves in the night, they normally survey the whole town looking for people to rescue from dangerous situations. Anyway, back to the story, we see Flashheart and the other wolves trying to rescue some humans from a flying building. Freddy, desperate to prove himself to the pack, joins this expedition. Along with his best friend Batty, they attach a kind of lasso at the bottom of the balloon, and according to their plan, he allows himself to be hit by many objects as possible to slow down the balloon. This works as the balloon is able to land safely to the ground in the middle of nowhere. Out of excitement, Freddy rushed back home to meet the pack so he can get a hero's welcome for rescuing the civilians in the balloon, but he sees them lacking so hard at some news they are watching on the TV. In the news, Freddy is being called a cute little puppy, but worst of all is he is being addressed as a rabid supervillain for being an obstacle for the nighttime vigilance from saving the balloon. The elders in the pack are rather angry with Freddy for almost exposing their identity because they are not meant to be seen by any humans. This made Freddy so upset because no matter how hard he tries, the pack still always look down on him. His father Flashheart consoles him saying, "Respect doesn't happen overnight, but it has to be earned." This made Freddy even more angry that he leaves to have a moment for himself. Batty tells him to stop trying to be the hero all the time and just be himself because his personality alone makes her respect him. But Freddy disagrees as he feels that isn't enough. He needs an edge, something to make the pack sit up and take notice. He sees a drawing on a rock and an idea immediately gets to his mind. He takes Batty to a hidden place in the forest and reveals to her that he is looking for the summoning stone. In the old days, the pack used it to call on the moon spirits for help. He doesn't know why they stopped, but he intends on asking the moon spirit for help. He places his hands on the summoning stone, and this makes the moon spirit in space to begin to hear his voice. He doesn't know if they are actually listening to him, but he still pours out his pains. Just as the moon spirit listens, Freddy begs that he doesn't want to be taken for granted anymore by the pack, and wants them to respect him. Even the moon spirit themselves doesn't take him seriously and leaves, apart from the youngest of them called Mupu, who seem touched by his words. Since the others aren't willing to help Freddy, Mupu decided to handle this all by himself. He performs a kind of ritual dance which didn't seem to work at first, but suddenly gets teleported to Earth. Just as Freddy is about giving out that even the moon spirit doesn't listen to him, he sees a bright light from space descending down to Earth. The bright light enters his body, and he suddenly began a strange transformation which turned him into a wolf. However, he isn't aware of this yet until Batty tells him to look at his reflection in the water. This made Freddy really excited because as from now, the pack would have no other option but to give him the respect he deserves. Batty feels the spirit might be making a mistake because they are supposed to teach him patience instead of just answering him immediately. After Freddy leaves to go show the pack his new transformation, that Batty moon spirit lands on that very spot and seems to be very much okay. Freddy begins to test his capability as a wolf as he repeatedly tries to pull out trees from their roof. He is met by the Batty moon spirit, which scares him at first, but realizes that it was this moon spirit that helped him with this transformation. The spirit introduced himself as Mupu, and after they both have fun for a while, Freddy decides to return home and wishes the baby spirit a safe trip back to the moon. But the problem is, Mupu doesn't know how to return to the moon. Back at Freddy's house, his dad tries to convince the pack that even though Freddy makes a lot of mistakes, there is no denying that he is trying to help, and inside of him beats the heart of a wolf. Freddy suddenly interrupted his father's speech and showcases to the pack that he is now a 200% wolf, which leaves them shocked. Everyone begin to bow down, and Freddy soon come to realize that they aren't shocked by him at all, but are only shocked because of the presence of the moon spirit. It was the moon spirit they were paying their respects to. The baby moon spirit enters and hugs Freddy, making the pack surprised on how it knows Freddy, and they realize that he went to the summoning stone, which is forbidden to use among the wolves. This leads to the wolf elder called Lady Hightail to tell Freddy a story. There was once a member of their pack called Max, who had great ambition to one day lead the pack, but always end up feeling overlooked because of her small stature. Determined to gain respect, Max searched for solution and discovered the forbidden earth magic, a magic that corrupts those who uses it. But having earth magic alone did not satisfy her, so she created a portal and tried to steal a magic of the moon spirits, but they are way stronger than her. She was cursed by the moon spirit never to transform into a wolf again. After the narration, Freddy is blamed for making the earth and the spirit planes into contact, thereby threatening the entire cosmic balance. And now they can't send the Bay Moon spirit home, as only the evil wolf called Max knew how to open the portal to the spirit realm. Freddy suggests they bring back Max to help them, but the pack opposed it because it is a bad idea. The moon spirit is a weapon, and if it falls into her hand, she could destroy everything. Just then, the baby moon spirit runs away. The other wolves chase after it, and as Freddy tries to join them to fix his mistakes, Lady Tail suspends him from the night patrol. Freddy goes to meet his dad, insisting that they should let him fix this whole situation as Mupu, the baby moon spirit, can't remain stranded on Earth forever, but unfortunately for him, his dad tells him that nothing can be done. This is because spirits are not meant for this world, so in a few days or even weeks, Mupu inner light will fade out and he will be dead. Freddy and Batty later finds Mupu on the rooftop, trying so hard to return back to the moon. They decided to go meet a dog friend named Hamish for help, and he agrees to help them find Max. Freddy and Batty are taken to an underground place called the Great Kennel, where the dogs keep all its stories and secrets. Hamish looks at a map and figures out where Max is going to be. The wolf pack suddenly arrives there, leading to Freddy and his friends to escape to the surface where the humans are. Due to sunlight, Freddy transforms back to a human. Hamish, who have an idea on Max's location, takes them inside a bus, which stops them in a wilderness. As they move around the place, Hamish admits that he actually doesn't know where they are going from here. One of them mistakenly trigger a trap, and this caused chaos to ensue. After they escape the traps, Mupu begins to unleash mysterious powers. On the other hand, Flash Heartwolf Pack, who was searching for Freddy, finds a map inside the underground kennel, and they follow the map believing it to be where Freddy went to. Back to the wilderness at full moon, Freddy transforms back to a wolf, but he notices that Mupu isn't feeling too great as his inner light has started to fade. He places Mupu around his arms to pet him, but a strange energy begins to surge around his body. Freddy stops Mupu from doing that, realizing he is trying to eat his inner moonlight, which will stop him from being a wolf. Mupu apologizes, and they continue their quest. After a while, some ugly, scary creatures appear from nowhere and begin to chase after them. Freddy tries to defend his friends confidently because he is now a wolf, but upon seeing his attacks weren't effective to the creature, he began to run for his life. As soon as the monsters were about to finish them all, a lady arrived and uses her magic to stop the beast. Freddy and Batty introduced themselves and told her who they were looking for. They discovered that the lady is the Max they have been looking for. To try to get what they want from Max, Freddy smartly lies that he was also banished from the wolf pack just like her because he tried to steal the powers of the moon spirit. Max doesn't fully trust him and decided to put him to test. She gives him weapons and tells him to kill his friends to gain her trust. Smartly, Freddy whispers to his friends to play along, and they acted according to plan by pretending to be dead. Thinking they are dead, decided to trust him and as well teach him how to open portals to the spirit realm. Freddy soon come to realize that Max seen in him, and more alike than he realized. They were both looked down on by the pack, but the only difference between them is Max turned to dark magic and spells to gain strength. On the other hand, Mupu accidentally absorbed the dark magic inside one of Max's creature, turning him from good to evil. The next morning, as Freddy turns human, Max begins teaching him how to tap into the earth powers to cast spells. Mupu, on the other hand, is no longer himself anymore, and he began to drain energy from other animals around him. After 2 days, Freddy masters how to summon the earth magic and tells Max to teach him the most difficult spells, which is how to open portals, but Max warns him that excessive use of magic can corrupt one's mind just as it did to her, which led to the loss of everything she once had. She advises Freddy to be patient, but likes him at some point because his enthusiasm reminds her of her young self. Later that night, Freddy sneaks to a mountaintop, which is the source of Max's knowledge called the Library of Spells. After Max left the place, Freddy begins to search for the portal spell, but in the process, he discovers other spells. Mupu, who still keeps absorbing the energy of animals, hears Freddy's voice and runs to him. Together, they both play with the earth magic. But Baddie is not happy with their actions as she realizes that this magic is changing them into unexplained ways. But later they realize that Mupu is running out of time and is soon going to die, making Freddy really afraid. Max suddenly shows up from nowhere and is angry that Freddy has been lying to her. He is only using her so he can help Mupu return back to the moon. Freddy tries to make her understand that he didn't mean to betray her and advises her to change her ways so she can start having friends. Max tries to prove she has friends by calling the animals under her control, but it becomes clear to her that they only fear her, but not actually her friend. Max is sad and sits quietly on her own. Freddy tells her that if she can help Mupu get back to the moon, she will be able to get the pack respect. Max says she's not strong enough to open the portal alone and suggests to Freddy that they should both combine their powers to do it. After chanting, they were able to complete the spell, managing to connect to the moon, but Max reveals to have used Freddy as her plans as to take the powers of all the moon spirits. After she knocks out Freddy and his friends, chaos begins erupting on Earth as the balance is thrown into disarray. At that moment, Max curses broken and turns into a wolf, thirsty for more power. Freddy uses the new magic tricks he learned to try and stop her, but Max has grown extremely powerful and unstoppable. Flashheart and rest of the pack shows up and tells Max that she can never force respect. Angrily, Max uses her magic into forcing them to bow down to her. Batty summons a gigantic bat she befriended in the wilderness, and it begins to attack Max. Mupu quickly moves towards the portal to regain his little light energy, but Max strikes in with her powers. Freddy comes to defend him, and he manages to overpower Max, making her to transform into a frog, and her magic is also gone. Just when we think everything is now turning out for good, Mupu absorbs an overwhelming amount of energy, making him a gigantic evil monster. To calm Mupu down, Freddy and his friends sing a song to him, making Mupu to return back to his senses. Realizing the destruction he has caused, he uses his remaining strength to begin closing the portal, saving everyone in the process. Due to this, Mupu is just few seconds away from dying since the portal is closing. Desperate to save Mupu, Freddy removes the moon energy out of him and transfers it to Mupu. This gave Mupu the energy to finally elevate to the portal, but Freddy, on the other hand, will no longer transform into a wolf. Mupu returns back to the moon and happily reunites with his mother. The other spirits are impressed with what Freddy did, and they decided to help him. With their powers, Freddy transforms into his former wolf form, and to his surprise, the pack bows down to him in respect. Thank you for watching, guys. If you love animation movies, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching. Bye.